Welcome to the second video in our Open Fender System Installation Guide series for the 2017 Ford Superduty. In this video, we will be going through the cutting process. Our goal is to provide this comprehensive instruction in manageable chapters and steps so that an individual will feel comfortable during the process. This product is for off-road use only. All liability for installation and use rests with the owner of the vehicle. Careless installation and operation can result in serious injury or equipment damage, and for professional use only. Chapter 4. Cutting. Here's a list of tools needed to perform the cutting process. These are the tools not provided in the kit: a wheel grinder and cutting wheels, a cordless drill, 17 by 32 inch drill bit, as well as smaller bits, a body saw, metal cutting blades, and a center punch. Chapter 4. Step 1. Cutting the cab. Begin your first cut by using the body saw to cut the lower rocker channel. Start from the bottom of template 21 and cut through the profile of template 11. Next, cut through the radius of the flange starting from the bottom cut profile of template 12 and through to the top cut profile of template 11. Cut the remaining material away starting from the inside of the flange. Next, use a cutting wheel to cut from the top of template 12 through to the bottom of the cut line. Be careful not to cut through the firewall. You are now finished with the template cuts needed for the cab. It's now time to move on to the reinforcement bar. Chapter 4. Step 2. Cutting the reinforcement bar. Start by cutting through the reinforcement bar indicated by the cut profile of template 16. Next, cut through the bottom profile of template 15 all the way through the reinforcement bar. You are now finished with the template cuts needed for the reinforcement bar and can move on to the rear fenders. Chapter 4, Step 3. Cutting the rear fender. Begin by lining the bottom outside contour of the rear fender with painter's tape. Then, outline the contour of the fender with a red marker. This will serve as your template. Using a body saw, cut along the indicated portion of the fender drawn by the red marker. Always cut to the side of less being taken away. Adjustments can always be made after the initial cut. Remove the painter's tape from the rear fender. Using a wheel grinder, smooth out the cut to give it a nice round finish. Any imperfections will be covered by the base fender during installation. Next, we will need to create extra clearance along the bottom edges. Take a colored chalk line to mark off the extra portion of the fender that needs removal. Line up the chalk line with the indentation of the rear fender and the bottom of where the quarter panel meets the bed. Using the cutoff wheel, start your cut from the bottom of the chalk line and follow through to the top. Make sure you cut through both aluminum walls of the fender. Chapter 4, Step 4, Cutting the Front Fenders. Begin by using a body saw to cut the rear portion of the fender along the cut profile of Template 1. Start from the bottom and work your way through the bulk of the fender. Reposition the saw and finish the cut starting from the inside contour of the fender. Flip the fender over and align your saw with the remaining cut line for Template 1. Cut through the plastic from the back to finish the cut. Position the saw along the front portion of the fender and align it with the cut profile of Template 2. Start cutting along the profile to remove the section of fender underneath it. Reposition the saw and finish the cut starting from the inside contour of the fender. Drill a pilot hole in designated spots on templates 19 and 20. After, step up to a 17 by 32 inch drill bit and finish drilling out the designated holes. Finally, go back to Template 1 and use a body saw to cut through the remaining angled cut profile. You are finished with the cuts needed for the front fender, and the cutting process of the installation is complete. All steps in this chapter should be repeated on the passenger side with the same technique and skill as the driver's side cut. You're ready to move on to Chapter 5.